Question, where are all the Biden supporters telling us that Joe Biden has done a great job in handling everything that's going on in Afghanistan right now? Where are they? Oh, that's right. There aren't any. There wasn't a week, there wasn't a day that went by during the Trump administration that no matter what he did, not only was he under attack by the media, his supporters were under attack by the media. Anyone on Capitol Hill that supported President Trump and was trying to get through his agenda, to put it forward for the American people, they were excoriated. They were called racist. They were told by people like Mad Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi to you get in their faces. You make sure that they're not welcome. They're not welcome on Capitol Hill. They're not welcome in America, etc., etc., etc. So now all of a sudden, we have this just absolute unraveling of a presidential administration that has imploded before our very eyes, and even Democrats and liberals see the fiasco this is. And yet, what generals have been fired over what happened in Afghanistan? What people in the in the Biden White House and the cabinet have been relieved of their duties? Now let that sink in, because as all of this is exploding overseas, we still have at home this rabid, out of control, mentally defective cancel culture that is literally canceling everything it doesn't like because it's mean and it's not fair, and this is the way I don't see things, so I don't want it this way anymore. Case in point, one of the things that we have gleaned during this recent event we have all been through together for the past 18 months is finding out just exactly how bad the American educational system is. You know, it's amazing. There was this time you were told that if you put your kids in a Christian school, a parochial school, or heaven forbid if you homeschool them, you were denying your kids real education. You were denying them the proper way to integrate them with young people their own age and the socialization skills that they would need, etc., etc., etc. And then poof, all of a sudden, overnight, everybody became a homeschool parent. And it was the thing to do to save lives and protect everyone. You must stay home, educate your kids at home. And now that schools are reopening, we've got kids that are being masked all day. They're sitting in little circles 10 feet away from each other. Where's the whole argument about socialization and learning how to interact with their peers, etc., etc.? So because of all of this, parents have really gotten engaged. This is why we are seeing parental meetings in school boards across the country. They are outraged over everything from mandates to the critical race theory. They are finally awake and plugged in. When they had to homeschool, when they had to educate their kids, and they began to really actually look at the curriculum, look at what was being taught, set up the Zoom class for their kids to be able to Zoom with the teacher, and they sat in the room for a few minutes and heard what these teachers were actually saying and what they were actually educating, programming their kids. Parents across the country are shocked and they're horrified at what's going on in the classroom. A video went viral last week over a teacher just absolutely excoriating Donald Trump and any Trump supporters, despite the fact he's not president anymore. And basically laying out to these students that if they support Donald Trump or his parents support Donald Trump, why they're idiots, they're buffoons. I mean, this video went viral. The teacher has been fired. Here's another teacher who ought to be fired, who actually went to TikTok to explain, we don't have an American flag that we pledge. We pledge the gay pride flag.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet. But my kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. And I'm like, oh, well, I gotta find it. Like, I'm working on it. I got you. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
She took down the American flag because it made her uncomfortable. You're kidding me, right? That flag that has provided the very platform for her to be able to serve as an educator and walk into a classroom and teach, inspire, and apparently in this case, inflict mental damage on children. She has been able to do that because of the freedom that she is afforded in this nation. Do any of these libloons fully grasp the concept that if they were to ever get the so-called utopian society of which they dream, of which they fantasize, of which they think if we stop using words like terrorist and we just embrace and we coexist and we allow them to come here and influence the way we do things, how wonderful it will be. We'll have just peace and harmony if we make all the patriotic Christians just shut up and go away. No, do you understand that if what we have been fighting against over there is ever turned loose here, that somebody like you, Madam Teacher, is one of the very first ones they will round up, that they will execute? Do you understand that? I've said that for years as Hollyweird defends all of this. They don't even understand that it's the very culture that they propagate and put up on movie screens, that the jihadists really hate this country, why they have declared this holy war. They don't want any part of our way of life. They don't want any part of our system, and they sure don't want our morality. And the very people that push and promote, just study history, the very ones that help communists come to power are always the very first ones. Before the troublemakers, they're always the very first ones that get rounded up and executed. Why? Because the communists don't want anybody thinking that if you helped us come to power, that now all of a sudden you get a seat at the table and get to start explaining how things are going to be done. Because after all, we welcomed you into power. We helped make this for you. Hitler and the brown shirts, the very people that put him in office, once he got there, he did away with them. Communist regimes constantly, when they come to power, they do away with the people who got them there. And this goofball teacher doesn't even understand that if the people she defends ever actually came into power, she would be one of the first ones they would do away with. Bill Maher is certainly not, by any stretch of the imagination, a conservative. But he does understand and he does have some perspective. And he put it in pretty clear perspective.
Have a little perspective about the stuff we howl about here. I'm sorry your professor said something you didn't like. That won't be a problem with the Taliban because you're not allowed to go to school. In Saudi Arabia, grown women can be jailed for doing the kind of things we think of as routine without the permission of a male guardian. China rounds you up if you're the wrong religion and puts you in camps. More children in Burkina Faso work than are in school. Only 5% of Burundians have electricity. The homicide rate in Honduras is 8 times what it is here. The inflation rate in Venezuela is 2,719%. The Philippines, in the last 5 years, has put to death 27,000 low-level drug dealers. My old job. In North Korea, people starve to death. The only people who starve here are doing it for a role. And the only people who have no water live in California. If you think America is irredeemable, turn on the news or get a passport and a ticket on one of those sketchy airlines that puts its web address on the plane. There's a reason Afghan mothers are handing their babies to us. And,
you know, there's really nothing more to add after that. And as far as that goofball teacher at the beginning of this monologue, she's the reason we have the current president we have right now. Take a look around. Anything that he's done, has it worked? Now, make it really personal. Who's educating your child? Who's teaching your child? Who has influence over your child? I've said it before. I will say it again. I thank God for those who are conservative, Christian, patriotic, who go into the public school classroom as teachers, trying to fend off the cesspool and the sewage, which is our public educational system. But it's no place for your kids. Get your kids out of the public schools. One of the things that I was screaming during the entire shutdown, shelter at home, whatever you wanted to call it, was, as far as I'm concerned, don't open the public schools. Don't open them. Either educate them yourself or find a really good private or Christian school to put your kids in. This is why we are losing generations. Because of teachers like this. Because of this mentality that no matter what we try to do or say, we can't combat the fact that our kids are immersed in this 6, 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 weeks out of the year. Do you understand this? Do you grasp this? Put that on top of the secularization of the entertainment that they receive through the music, through the movies they watch, through the stuff that they stream. Do you understand that you just having a talk with them is like spitting into the ocean? Get your kids out of the public school. Get them someplace they can get a good education where they begin to learn to think critically, to ask hard questions and learn how to use logic to reason things through and to discover they have a great country with an incredible constitution. Because if we don't stem this tide now, we will be idiocracy by the next generation. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a like. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. Smack the bell. Click the word all to get notification of my next rant.